Hey babes, it's Jenni Procopi from chronicbabe.com, and this is another AWAP Wednesday. If you haven't been with us before, AWAP stands for As Well As Possible. And in all things I do for Chronic Babe, that's what I hope for you, that you kick ass and take names, that you do as well as you possibly can in spite of chronic illness. Now, why am I in a baggy t-shirt, no makeup, hair not done, lying on the floor? Because I threw my back out. It happens sometimes. It sucks. But why am I recording this video for you on the floor? I wanted to talk to you today, instead of answering a reader question today, I wanted to talk to you about the reality of being a chronic babe and living through really hard stuff, and something that comes up for a lot of us. I know it comes up for me. I had a lot of experience with it this weekend when I threw my back out. And that is catastrophizing. If you haven't heard this term before, catastrophizing is the gentle art, I like to think, of making the worst out of any situation. So, for example, let's say you're going on a picnic. Instead of thinking, oh, how wonderful this picnic's going to be, we're going to see our friends, it's a sunny day, we're going to go to the beach, you might think, oh, what if some jerk shows up, and what if I get too hot and I get sunburned and then I have to go to the emergency room because I have sun poisoning. Do you know what I mean? Like, you take something that could be really rad and you walk it back to a really dark place. Catastrophizing is something I learned to do very early on in my chronic babeness. Now, this really came to pass because I went from being an extremely healthy young woman with almost no, health-related complaints to speak of, to over the course of like a year and a half, getting diagnosed with 7-something chronic illnesses. Like, every time I went to the doctor, it was like, oh, by the way, you have this. Oh, by the way, you have this. Oh, and so I started to panic. Like, every time I got a symptom of something, a minor rash, I was thinking, oh my God, it's skin cancer. Or, a little bump on my arm, I was like, oh my God, it's a tumor. I mean, my head started getting crazy because the reality was that a lot of times I was going to the doctor for something and it was something serious, and then other times it wasn't, and it became so confusing. And I come from a rich background of anxiety in my family, so I am like hardwired to be this way, and a lot of us are, and you don't have to come from that background to be a champion catastrophizer like I can be. But so many of us are. So what happened is I threw my back out on Saturday, and then early Sunday morning, like 3 a.m. Sunday morning, I wake up and I try to go down the hall to my bathroom, and I cannot walk. I physically cannot walk. The pain is so intense, and the back cramping and spasming was so intense that I could not move my legs, and I was screaming. And my boyfriend was holding me up, and we tried to wheel me in a chair, and that didn't work, and eventually I had to crawl to the bathroom and hoist myself up and do my business, and then crawl back to the bed, and basically hollering and crying and sobbing the whole way. In my mind, and I've thrown my back out a lot, but I've never had this happen. And in my mind, this is where I was. Oh my God, I've thrown my back out in such a way that nerves are being pinched, which is why I can't use my legs, which means I'm going to have surgery, which means I won't be able to work, which means I will lose my business, and my boyfriend will grow weary of me and dump me, and I will die alone on the corner in a wheelchair with a sign held up saying, please feed me. I mean, this is literally where my head went. And it's like, I wasn't even consciously thinking all this, it just runs on its own. And especially when we don't feel well, when we have that adrenaline pumping of pain and fear, it's so much easier for our minds to just take off and go to this crazy place. And that's where I went. It's kind of hard to admit that to you, but that's where I went. And I know that a lot of us can do that when we are in dark situations with our pain and with our illness. It is very, very common. So the good thing is, I got on the horn with my doctor, got some meds, got some rest, have had wonderful help from my boyfriends. And I am walking and it's a lot better. I'm still spending a lot of time on the floor, which is where I am right now. But mostly, it's getting better and better. I'm not going to have emergency surgery. I'm not going to need to use a wheelchair. I'm not going to need, like all these things are not going to come true. But in that moment, that fear, it made me crazy. It made me feel so like my life was just over. And, when I talked to a couple other people about it, it was like, oh yeah, two other people were like, oh yeah, I've crawled too. I've thrown my back out so bad I had to crawl too. And I was like, well shit, nobody ever tells you that. I mean, I just had never heard that. Maybe some people have heard it, but I didn't know that. So in my mind, it was like this crazy thing that was happening to me. And in reality, it happens to a lot of people. What's the lesson for us chronic babes? The lesson is that we need to continue practicing not catastrophizing. So that means when we're in our very minor situations, like, oh, I have a bump on my arm. If we start to feel ourselves catastrophizing, start to become aware of that and halt it, stop it. When we practice that all the time, then we are better prepared in those terrible situations that are very intense to recognize that we are in fact catastrophizing and shut that shit down. Because that makes the whole situation 10 times harder. When you're not only dealing with insane pain and limitations and everything else, when you're also thinking that your life is basically going to be over because of this, wow, does it make it hard to be rational and calm and think through solutions, I challenge you, if you are a champion catastrophizer or even a welterweight, I challenge you to start thinking about catastrophizing. Look in your life. Do you have moments where some small thing happens and you start to imagine a worst case scenario that goes down the way, like 5 steps ahead? Do you have minor things that happen to you and you start to imagine that the worst is possible? I challenge you to start taking a few minutes a day. And I am going to be working on this too, y'all, because I clearly need more practice. I challenge you to start writing down what you're thinking when you have those thoughts. Because if you step away for an hour and come back and look at them, I guarantee you will see the crazy. And that's okay, because when you see it and you see it as crazy and you keep practicing that, it gets way easier. And I mean, I know I've been working on this for years and years and years. Seriously. And I still thought the other night that my life was over because I was crawling. But you work on it and you work on it and you work on it, it does get better. And it gives you the perspective so that when you're in these super serious situations, which we all of us wind up in occasionally, you will have so much better control over your thoughts, over your perspective, over your rational reasoning abilities, and you will be better able to make smart decisions in a tough moment, and to enlist help and to think creatively and use your intuition to tap into what is really happening. Because seriously, next time this happens with my back, God forbid, I do not want it to happen again. But the next time it happens, if it happens, I will know my life is not over because I have to crawl. Oh, okay, this sucks really hard, but I'm just going to crawl. So I know I didn't follow our regular format. I didn't ask a reader question, but I'll just pretend that all of you have been emailing me and asking me about how not to be catastrophizers. Okay? Thanks for joining me on the floor today. I hope this has been really helpful for you. If it has been, I hope that you will like it wherever you are seeing this on social media or at chronicbabe.com. Join the conversation. Come on over. If you're not there already, come to chronicbabe.com to the post where this video is and join the conversation. I would love to hear your craziest catastrophizing stories. It would give me a lot of support. I don't want to say pleasure, but it would really help me to feel like I'm not alone. So tell me you're crazy. If you haven't signed up yet, I really hope you sign up for the Chronic Babe newsletter. You can also get that at chronicbabe.com. It's free. You get it every week. You get alerted to new videos and stuff like this. And I host giveaways and contests and all kinds of things. I have a book coming out in a couple months. I do not want you to miss out on the announcement for that. And we have this secret club, this subscription program I've been running for 3 months. It is a huge hit. And we have spots open right now. So hop on over to the site, sign up for the newsletter. You'll get all the scoop. Okay, that's it. I went a little long this week, but you know, I'm on muscle relaxants. No, I'm not today, actually, which is a beautiful thing. But I thanks for listening. Thanks for thinking about it. I think it's going to help you a lot. And until we meet again, be AWAP. Mwah. Beep.